The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance is a 2019 TV show created by Netflix and the Gene Henson Company. It is the prequel TV show to the film, the 1982 film, also produced by Gene Henson. Now, I'm a big fan of the lore of the Gene Henson world. The Muppet Show, Fraggle Rock. He also designed the work, the basis of the characters for Sesame Street. So he's a legend among the people of my generation. We grew up watching those shows. And even the shows that came after his death, like Dinosaurs, that were produced by his company, and some other shows until this day. So it is obvious that I was a fan of The Dark Crystal. I remember watching the movie in the 80s at a friend's house, and it was very interesting film. It was different than any other. It didn't caught my attention as much as I would say The Never-Ending Story, but definitely was a film that really marked my childhood, and I remember it very vividly. Just the beautiful artistry, the puppets in this show. So in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to let you know if this new adaptation of this new show, the prequel, is a must-watch or not. So stay tuned. They're good. The best part of this show is the puppetry. It is the center of everything, and it is just masterful. You have to keep in mind that pretty much in the past 20 years, we have seen a lot of CGI. CGI has taken over the way we enjoyed this, and I'm not nothing against CGI. I think it is good that we have it, and it's important. I think that it has developed some new technologies that allow us to really enjoy things that we have never ever had the opportunity to enjoy. But puppetry is still an art form that is just, it's beautiful, and when it's well applied, it can really bring the art to the next level. It can really showcase something so spectacular, and this show is spectacular. From the first episode to the last episode, the artistry, it's amazing, and the puppets are center stage, and you're watching puppets, but still you are enjoying every minute of it because it's so beautifully applied, and it's a reminder that sometimes the newer things are not always the best things, and just because the technology has advanced doesn't mean that we cannot utilize old technology. And definitely here you can see the artistry, and it's just a beautiful war. The world of Thra is amazing, and it's beautiful to watch. I enjoy every single minute of it. Another great aspect of this show, besides the puppets, is the fact that the story is very engaging. The story here, I would say it's important to know, because when you remember the film, if you ever watched the first film, there's a world that is already dying, and there are saviors. In this case, the world, the Gelflings are saving this world. They're pretty much the last of their race, and they trying to save their world. But now this is just prior to that, so we see a world that is full of life, full of characters, full of Gelflings and different, in this case, clans and other creatures, and it's an amazing thing. But bringing it all together, it requires to create pretty much the foundation of the story, and the story here has a really very strong foundation, and I really love that because it gives depth to the original film. It gives a lot of depth to what happened, and really gives us a view of this marvelous world. And the art is great. The direction is great by Louis Leterrier. He is the director that he created the first two Transporter films, Unleashed, Incredible Hulk, Clash of Titans, among other films. So he's a great director, and he really brings that artistry, that I would say that beauty on it. And being French, and I'm saying that because he's French, it means that he's a better director, but because of his pretty much a European, I would say, school of art, you can see that pretty much that interaction and that introduction of that beauty of art into everything, into the cinematography. That's another great aspect of this series. It's just the cinematography, the shots are well placed. There's a balance. There's still some CGI, but there is a good balance between the CGI and the puppetry, and just the backdrop. It's amazing. Everything on this film plays so well with the entire story. And we need to remember that in order to have a good story, you also need to have good actors to deliver the story. And of course, you're thinking, well, these are, just puppets, but these puppets have voices. They're actors and actresses playing the part, making the voice over, and they're the ones that are really carrying the characters. And you have great cast. You have a lot of young actors like Taron Egerton, Anya Taylor-Joy, Natalie Emmanuel, but you also have seasoned actors like Simon Pegg, Mark Hamill, Jason Isaacs, among others. And the story is narrated by Sigourney Weaver. So you have this weight of actors, young and old, that really give so much substance to the story. They played the part. You're watching these puppets, but they're coming to life with those voices. And definitely that's a great highlight of the show. The bad. Now it's time to talk about the bad. Yes, the world of Thra is amazing. The Gelflings and all the different clans are amazing. All the story is amazing. The sketches and the mystics, Mother Agra, all of that, it plays so well. But the story also, because it's this long, you're given so much, I would say, content to the whole story. Definitely you have to prolong those. Now, I enjoy every single episode from beginning to end. Not only that, I think the director managed to really bring the story together, to really enthrall you, if we can say that, to watch the next episode after episode, because it was well designed. Every single episode works like a film, and I really like that part. It has a beginning, it has pretty much the center of the story happening in the episode, and then of course the ending of that episode that really engulfs you in a way that you want to watch the next episode. And I really enjoyed that part. But there are times within the whole story that it feels that it prolongs a little bit in the center. There are moments that you feel that the story goes a little beyond that. Not too bad. I wouldn't say that it's too bad, but at some points you're gonna feel that timing is not the essence, and the story is going in some different directions, and not necessarily delivering on that direction. But it's because it has a center message. Now, it's so vague. You have to really pay too much attention in order to see that as a bad thing. But definitely you're going to see it. It's going to take a little bit of time for things to unfold completely the way you really want the story to unfold. Now, another aspect of the story that is important to remember is that this is not necessarily for kids. Even though the original film was created originally for children, it was a darker film, and Jim Henson's intention was to have a darker story for children, because he said it in the beginning that also children need to understand the meaning of fear, so they can have healthy adulthoods, so they can grow healthy. So that's understandable. The story is not necessarily for the small little children. There are really dark moments in the story, so you have to keep that in mind. There are moments that definitely can come across as really offensive to some viewers, so you need to keep that in mind. Definitely also, there's a couple of things where the show kind of gives support to the LGBT agenda. You're going to notice that. It's so vague, but it's there. Now, I had nothing against stories like that, but in the original film, none of this was ever introduced or never was ever mentioned. Of course, this is a prequel to it. It's in a modern setting now, of course, nowadays, so we have to understand the sensitivities of today. But some people may find some of those mentions a bit offensive, so you have to keep that in mind. I wouldn't say that it takes away from the story, but in some instances when you're watching and you feel that it's kind of shoehorned into it, and you have to be careful. It doesn't really affect my viewing experience because I love the show, but definitely it's there, and it's put there just, pretty much it's predisposed for it to be there, not necessarily because it enhances the story. It's just there just for the sake of it. In conclusion, I love the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. It's a fantastic show. Never in my wildest dream would I ever imagine that the 1982 film would ever get a sequel, or in this case a prequel, and more so a TV show. And this first season, it's just fantastic. I really enjoyed the story, how the story it developed from beginning to end. It gave so much weight to the film that now I can see the film in a, I would say, in a more mature light. I haven't watched it in so long. Since I was a kid, I haven't watched the film. I wouldn't say that I'm a big fan of the film, but definitely I enjoyed it as a kid, and it was enthralling. It was amazing. It was beautiful to watch. But now the TV show, it really surpasses the expectation. This is better all the way, story-wise, the art, the beauty of it, the cinematography, the combination of some CGI. The CGI is not taking over everything. It's the puppetry, the center stage, the voice actors, the story. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous, and I cannot really wait to watch season 2, because this is the thing. The story is so rich that there's room for another season. And at the end of the last episode, you see that. I definitely recommend this to anyone because it is gorgeous and it's a beautiful story. So now, if I have to give a score to the entire show, I would say easily it's a 9 out of 10. The show is almost perfect. It is gorgeous. Yeah, there's a couple of things here and there, more like political senses, like more like shoehorning into a couple of things here and there, but it's not big. It's not a major deal that break the show. The show is good, and I really enjoy it. It is almost a perfect 10, but definitely have to take some of that because of timing, because of pacing in some instances. Some things are over exaggerated. The sketches, for example, are over exaggerated, but beyond that, everything is pretty good. It's pretty decent. I highly recommend it. If you're looking for something to watch this weekend or any other day, this is a show that you must watch. But what do you think? What is your opinion? Do you like my score? Have you watched the show, or are you pretty much waiting to watch it another time? I definitely recommend that you start watching it this weekend. You definitely are going to enjoy it. So once again, I want to say thank you for those who are watching, and God bless my friends. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and to hit the notification button so you're reminded of the next video. Talk to you again. Bye-bye.